Hey guys, Louie here. I just wanted to do a quick little report on General Electric and general market conditions. I don't know if you caught the news this morning on CNBC, and markets have been all over the place, down, up, etc., with lots of rhetoric in the markets. But here are some things that are really significant. One thing that happened today is that a forensic financial examiner released a story about General Electric. Now, you know GE, former owner of CNBC and one of the largest companies in the world. Well, their stock has been under pressure lately, as there has been concern about their debt. Right? They have been people believe, and I think GE acknowledges, that they've had quite a bit of off-balance sheet financing. Also, they have pension plans that transpired as a result of union negotiations and so forth. Well, anyway, a forensic examiner goes on to CNBC this morning and says that there is a gigantic financial fraud being perpetrated, and has been for years now, by the company, by the leaders of the company, in that they have not properly reported basically all of their debt. There are a lot of off-balance sheet stuff, and given the rules of financial accounting, it should have been reported in a specific way, and it was not, which would result in manipulation of their financial statements and a fraud on investors. And he likens it to Enron. Okay, so that's the deal. That's why General Electric is trading at 8 this morning, and there's been a lot of talk of this for months and months now, and that's why the stock has been sliding. But when the market goes up, GE has generally gone up, and it seems to be something that is pretty sure, because forensic examiners don't typically get on national news and try to bring down one of the biggest companies in the world. So I tend to believe what's happening. If you have any affiliation with GE, their bonds, their stock, etc., you may want to take a good hard look at that. But it's a company that could be going to zero. And what I think is significant about that is that brings me to kind of the second part of this information, is that GE, a lot of people have worked for GE or its affiliates over the years, and GE has very generous pension benefits. That's one of the things that is not fully disclosed, from what I've heard, is they have very generous pension benefits, and a lot of people are out there drawing General Electric pensions. Perhaps on it could have been any number of scenarios would create these retirees that are drawing pensions from GE. Well, that could all be at risk. I mean, thousands of people that could wind up with an Enron-style loss of benefits, not to mention the people that work for them, aerospace industry and heavy machinery and electronics, and their GE Financial, I think they still have that. GE could have affiliations with Deutsche Bank, very possible. I know they do a lot of financing stuff. So anyway, this GE story could be way, way bigger than the media is making it, with a fragile economy, in a fragile world economy. Having a large company like GE, if it does go down or go into bankruptcy, I think will be very, very negative. And it's also indicative of all the people with a really cozy ride, all the people who have gotten these defined benefit plans where they're able to retire at a specific age with a specific percent of income. I gotta say, I think they're coming for you. I don't care whether it's one of the biggest companies and one of the biggest bellwethers in the world, like General Electric, or it is a public utility company like Pacific Gas and Electric, or it is the school teachers unions, or it is county, state, federal government pension plans. I do think that eventually the too good to be true deals that some people got, the baby boomers largely got to benefit from, are at risk. And I think that if you're on one of those pension plans, boy, I'd be looking seriously at trying to get that bought out and get some cold hard cash in the bank instead of a promise of payment for the rest of your life. But I digress, because most of us did not get that benefit. Most of us are stuck with a 401k and an underfunded plan for retirement. But here it comes. Here comes the unwinding of one of the biggest companies in the world, and it happened with a whimper. Basically, not even a sound was made hardly on CNBC. So, of course, they can't say it's true. But the gentleman that blew the whistle on this has blown the whistle on other very, very high-profile cases, and has clearly been engaged. And you might say has been engaged by people of substance to find out the truth. Now, you might say, why don't the auditors report stuff like this? Well, imagine how big the audit fees are for an audit firm, whether it's Price Waterhouse or I don't know who it might be, but imagine how big those fees are. I mean, they're probably, in the hundreds of millions. So, how quick would you be to pull the ticket on this golden goose that you're responsible for? And, the analysts out there in the financial community are, they have dozens of companies that they follow. And this stuff is really complex, especially with a big conglomerate and a with financial arms to it. So GE, as far as I'm concerned, has stunk ever since Jeff Immelt took over, and he was all cozy with Obama, and they were trying to change the world, right? Well, what he did was he changed his company into a company of freebies and unreported liabilities and political correctness and global warming, and all the above. And I think this is the natural conclusion of that semi-socialist experiment. Really interesting to me. I'd be curious what your thoughts are. Do you follow stuff like this? Do you have exposure to General Electric? I watched in the last recession, people that worked for General Motors, when the auto industry was going down, and it might have been before the bailout, or it could have been after, I'm not quite sure, but there were lots of retirees from the auto union and so forth for General Motors, and a lot of them got haircuts on their pensions too. So it can happen, and I think with so many people on the dole, you earned it, right? If you got it, you earned it, good for you. But if you're waiting for a check from a company, you better hope that company stays liquid. Otherwise, your check won't be coming. That's my thoughts. What are your thoughts? Guys, talk to you later.